I don't know when you're watching this, but in terms of when this video is going up, it's right around the time of Black Friday. I've been wanting to do a discussion video and it got me thinking. A Goku Black discussion would be perfectly fitting for this. However, this one's going to be a bit different from my other videos. I could do an analysis of Goku Black's character, I could do an analysis of the arc, or maybe even make a what if. Hell, I could even power scale, but that's not what we're here for. Well, sorta. This video is going to be a bit of its own thing. It's a mix of power scaling, what if, and hypotheticals. So pretty much all the things that I just said rolled into one. Now, a lot of people love Goku Black. And even though I do have my own problems with him in the arc, I do really like him too. He's a cool character with a cool design, and even though some of his powers come out of nowhere, it's always fun to see him on screen. But that's the thing, his powers. He has so many weird abilities and strengths. Some of them are even crazier than any of the other villains we've ever seen, or the heroes too. It's pretty clear that he was very strong and grew very quickly in terms of strength. But imagine if Goku Black somehow survived, if the Zero Mortals plan was successful, or if he just went about it in a different way. How strong could Goku Black truly get? Now, I'm not talking about him turning good, training with Goku and everything, no. I'm talking about Goku Black being his normal self, continuing to do what he does best and getting stronger while doing so. What is his limit? Does he even have one? And beyond power, what other abilities could he get? We'll be going through all of this today and more. So first off, let's actually discuss Goku Black as he is now, or at least as he was. What are his abilities? How strong is he? And what can he do with both these abilities and his strength? The simplest explanation possible for him is that he's Zamasu in Goku's body. So right off the bat, you could tell that he's pretty powerful. This is Goku after the Universe 6 tournament. So that Goku you saw fighting Hit, imagine him but a little bit stronger. That's the body that he's in. He has the mind and experience of Zamasu. We've seen that he clearly has access to a lot of Goku's abilities, but what a lot of people forget is that he has access to Zamasu's abilities too, at least some of them. He is technically still a Supreme Kai after all, so he gets the benefits of being that. Not to mention the time ring, which is a pretty broken tool to have in and of itself. We already saw him do some pretty serious damage with that. But that's just the absolute basics of him. Right away you have a formula for disaster. Add Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan Rose on top of that and you've made him even stronger. Goku Black's strength as is was pretty insane. The longer that Zamasu used Goku's body, the better he adapted to it, and the more power he drew out. Saiyans are also able to get stronger near death, and with all the injuries Goku Black has taken, plus the fact that he healed after them, it's only natural that he would grow stronger the longer he existed. But compared to Goku and Vegeta, he grew at an insane rate. Even look at his first encounter with Goku. Just in his base form alone, he was able to not only match Goku in terms of power, but put up a great fight against him while he was using Super Saiyan 2. Zamasu's mind and Goku's body weren't even fully merged at this point. This is seemingly the first time he's ever faced a real challenge like this. And even still, he was able to do it just in his base form. As the arc continues on, he grows way stronger and unlocks new abilities, some that he didn't even know existed. Not to say I'm necessarily in full defense of them. Some things came out of nowhere and Goku Black himself didn't even have an explanation for it, like that rift for example where he created all those clones. But this just goes to show how strong he really is. He doesn't even know his own strength or his abilities. So yeah, we get the point. He's really strong as is now, and his potential is one of the most insane things we've ever seen in the entire series. But how strong could he truly go? Like, how far past that could he realistically be? And how could he even manage to unlock all that great potential within him? There's a few things that he could be doing. First, let's move over to Dragon Ball Heroes and discuss what he does there because it's pretty insane. In that series, they basically just hand forms to him. In the simplest explanation possible, this version of him had a pretty similar backstory to the normal Goku Black. But after meeting Fu, he then went on a pretty crazy killing spree where he killed 99 different versions of Goku. Which at first might not sound that crazy until you consider the fact that all these Gokus were of varying strength. One of them even had an Ultra Instinct sign. So this Goku Black got so strong up to the point where he could kill Ultra Instinct Goku. Fighting all these Gokus brought out the limits of his body, at least to some extent, because he still kept growing beyond that. This was just him in regular Super Saiyan Rose. As he continued going on, he got stronger and stronger. Eventually he got Super Saiyan Rose 2, then Rose 3. And as of the time I'm recording this video, he's up to Super Saiyan Rose full power. Every time it seems like he's close to getting to his limit, he always surpasses it somehow. Of course, what we saw in the main story was pretty crazy, but in Heroes it's even crazier. And even though he has Rose full power, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the extent of what that form can do. He is Goku after all. You know what other great techniques Goku has that he could use? First of all, there's Kaioken, which isn't necessarily as great as some of the others, but still, it's an option. More importantly though, Ultra Instinct is there. Granted, the body that he has of Goku never had Ultra Instinct, but Goku Black clearly has knowledge of this form. At least the Heroes version of him does. And since it is Zamasu, there is a chance that he might actually know about this regardless. He's a Supreme Kai, he's dealt with angels and gods before. He probably would have known about Ultra Instinct, even if it wasn't passing. Of course, this would be harder for him to unlock than anything else because Goku's body never had experience with that, at least the body that he has. But using all of his knowledge and experience plus his power, you know what? It might actually be possible. If not access through his great knowledge and skill, maybe he can get some sort of catalyst like Goku had. Imagine how broken that would be, even with just Omen. Goku Black using Ultra Instinct Omen, eventually mastering it, getting Ultra Instinct. And then on top of that, combining it with his Rose forms, just like Goku's been doing in the Granola arc. It's pretty insane to think about. But if you take into account everything that we have so far, and keep in mind, this is just as of recording, it could get even crazier than this as we go on, but just from the stuff so far, he can get a full power version of Rose and then combine it with Ultra Instinct. That's some seriously overpowered stuff right there. And that's just hypothetical. Maybe he can get other things too. Who knows? Maybe he could evolve Rose, like what Vegeta did with Blue. Maybe there's something beyond Rose for him. Maybe he can combine the power of a great ape into it, getting his own version of Super Saiyan 4 or whatever. There's so much potential for what he could do in terms of just forms alone. And this isn't even scratching the surface on techniques. Imagine if he's able to get a hang on summoning his clones. Creating key weapons is one thing, sure. And getting so angry that you open a rift in space of time is pretty cool. But if you don't know what it's doing and how to use it, it's not as useful in battle, obviously. So take into account all the stuff I just said, and then add the fact that he can summon clones of himself. All probably using the same powers, too. That's pretty nutty. But since we're talking about how strong he could potentially get, how would he even get this strong? That's where the what-if aspect of this comes in. We would kinda have to change his backstory a bit, or look at some sort of hypothetical scenario where he survives. So let's assume he wants to grow. What are his options? Well, one of them is actually right on Earth, the Room of Spirit and Time. It worked out pretty well for Vegeta in that same arc. If he were somehow able to locate it and use it, he could exploit that year's worth of training in a day, and with how fast he grows, it's gonna be very potent. You know that increase in strength that Frieza had within 4 months? Well, Goku Black training in the Room of Spirit and Time will make that look like nothing in comparison. And that's just using the Room of Spirit and Time itself. Who knows? Maybe the Kais have access to a similar version of this, or better yet, they could just use their own time manipulation abilities with the time ring. Of course, there are certain limits to that with his body, since at a certain point he will be too old. But he's still got decades worth of time within him, and with how fast he grows, that's not really too big of an issue. There's another obvious option for him to get stronger too, exploiting his Zenkais. He already did this before. He knew that the pain that he felt made him grow stronger. Not only because it made him angrier and made Zamasu's mind merge more with Goku's body, but also because of the fact that it physically did make him stronger, since this is just an inherent ability that Saiyans have. The reason this was so effective before is because Zamasu was there with him. Zamasu had the ability to heal, so any of that grave damage that Goku Black took didn't really matter. He could just get healed up after pretty quickly. It's basically like nothing ever happened, and at the same time, he also gets more experience with the body and more power with the body. But from what we've discussed so far, it's pretty clear that Goku Black mostly grows stronger from fighting against people, whether that be from getting injuries from them or just the experience of actually fighting them. Like, let's take the main version of Goku Black for example. The more he fought Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta, the stronger he got. And even if we look at the Heroes version of him, he fought 100 versions of Goku, getting strong enough to even surpass UI Omen. So if anything, this is the best option for him. Not only does it let him get Zenkais, but also gives him the experience of actually fighting people, which has been proven to make him stronger. But there is one big issue with this. So let's assume that Goku Black actually did survive. Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks all died against them, and the Zero Mortals plan continued on. Who is there left to fight? Like, we don't exactly know who specifically Goku Black killed beforehand, or necessarily how he even killed them. Like, at the time this arc was created, Jiren wasn't a thing. Is he dead in this scenario, or is he alive somehow? Broly too, Moro as well. Hell, even though he wouldn't be as strong before the Wish, even Granola. Plus all the other strong people from different universes, Hit, Topo, Dispo, the rest of the Pride Troopers. If he actually did exterminate all these people beforehand, who's left for him to fight? And even if he does get stronger, who could he even use that strength against? Well, even if he doesn't have access to all those people, there is a pretty good solution for him. His time ring. In this weird scenario where he actually does survive, he could just go around to other timelines purging them of mortals. This one's just the beginning. We even saw towards the end of the Goku Black arc that when he was about to be killed, Zamasu merged with the universe and even went into other timelines too. So Goku Black could go around fighting strong people from other timelines as well. If everyone is dead here, that's no problem. He can go fight Jiren from the main timeline, Hit from the main timeline, maybe even some of the gods of destruction who are all still alive. As long as Zamasu's there to help him too, he'll just keep healing up. And even better, why not get immortality for himself? Imagine that, the huge power and potential of Goku Black combined with immortality, and the healing factor that comes along with it. Of course he'd be unstoppable just by being immortal regardless, outside of sealing techniques. But this hypothetical version of him is a whole new level of unstoppable. And you know what? Let's get even crazier. He has great potential and just needs to draw it out. We've seen this happen a bunch of times before, specifically with one character, Gohan. So what does he have to do with all this? His ultimate form. What if Goku Black were somehow able to attain this? I mean, think about it. He is a Kai after all and has Zamasu working with him. Through his fusion with that witch, Elder Kai was able to get this ability to unlock potential. It might not be impossible for Zamasu to figure out a way to do this too, as long as he gets knowledge of it first. If you haven't seen it already, I'll link it above, but I made a video explaining why Ultimate is incredibly overpowered. Put that in the hands of Goku Black, and you might have something even crazier than what we saw in Dragon Ball Heroes. It's completely fanfiction-y, but imagine, Goku Black with that Super Saiyan Rose full power form, plus all its potential drawn out from Ultimate. And on top of that, he has access to Ultra Instinct. Simply put, if Goku Black did survive, he could have gone down the path of becoming the strongest person in the history of Dragon Ball, even more so than some of the crazy things we've seen in Dragon Ball Heroes. Like, when you look back on how he was written, he was strong beyond belief, even in the canon version himself. Of course, he did have some ass pulls here and there, a few major ones too. But whether or not you want to call them ass pulls, they were there, and it just goes to show how strong he was. And like I said, there's a bunch of other things that could have happened too. What if he became immortal as well? Or what if at that hypothetical peak of power, he ended up fusing with Zamasu to gain immortality that way, as well as gaining that power of Zamasu? And I know, everything I just described sounds completely insane, but I haven't been making up any fan-made stuff here. I've been using stuff that exists within canon and in video games, and obviously the video games don't intertwine with canon, but still, it's an official source. The forms, techniques, and ideas I just listed, they're all from official sources. I just tried to find a way to combine them all together and make them as strong as possible. Of course, this is all hypothetical after all. Obviously it didn't happen, and I'm not a writer for the series, so who's to say it would have even happened. The whole point of this video is mainly just to get you to comprehend the insane power and potential of Goku Black. This isn't out of the realm of possibility. This could have been done. And again, this is just using what we already know so far. Who knows, down the line, Dragon Ball Heroes might introduce more and more forms for Goku Black. More crazy powers for him, more lore for the Kais that even enhances Zamasu, more equipment and powers that he can gain and make use of. Even before I made this video, I kinda underestimated how strong he was. Of course, I knew he was strong, but in terms of latent abilities, he was even way beyond where I thought. It was a lot of fun to research this video and figure out how strong he truly was, and where he could potentially go in terms of his limits. But even with all these great hypotheticals, if Zamasu really wanted to truly become the strongest being ever, there might have been a couple other options. Of course, he stole Goku's body for a reason. But what about the Grand Priest, for example, or Zeno? He had access to the Super Dragon Balls. Why not go crazy with your wish? Sure, Goku's body could help him grow really strong, but who knows what the limit of people like that are? But regardless, it's pretty clear that Goku Black has potential unlike any other person. Had it been fully put to use, you would have had the most fearsome character in Dragon Ball history, and even beyond that, he would start to become one of the strongest in all of anime and fiction in general, assuming he keeps growing as rapidly as he does, picking up crazy new techniques, getting access to different equipment, and things like that. In this body, Zamasu's power is truly limitless. Even just looking at how he was in canon without all this extra stuff added on, it was pretty crazy the stuff that he was capable of. But it's always fun to theorize where he could have gone. And for all I know, I'm just scratching the surface of what he's capable of. Only time will really tell, and I hope we get to see more of him. Of course, that'll mostly be in video games, but still, it's always fun to have him around. Plus, all of his designs are awesome, and I don't want them to go to waste anytime soon. The more Goku Black, the merrier. But now is where I ask you a question. It is a discussion video after all. Where do you think he could truly go? Do you think he can go even beyond where I said? Do you think I overstated his potential a bit? Could anything have gone wrong with all this? Leave any thoughts in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. This is a discussion video after all, so let's start discussing. Anyways, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. It lets me know you want to see more videos like this, and it really helps out the channel. If you haven't already, why not subscribe? As well as hitting the bell icon so you're notified about any future videos on my channel, including more uploads like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.